everyone. Welcome to the last week in the month of April. I must say that April flew by so fast. Well, probably because it's the best month of the year. Last week we talked about resurrection after brokenness. So today I'll be telling us about a journey that most people do not expect. A journey where Jesus is alive, but most times unrecognized. That was what happened on the road to Emmaus. The disciples had just left Jerusalem with a heavy heart. There was disappointment in their voice and confusion in their steps. They had heard the report, they had seen the signs, but somehow their hearts were still buried in grief, even though resurrection has already happened around them. Jesus is right there, walking beside them, close enough to hear their every word, close enough to understand their pain, but hidden from their recognition. The Bible says in the book of Luke chapter 24 verse 32, that did not our hearts burn within us while it talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us. Now this is where our faith feels completely personal, because there are times when God is not absent but unrecognized. Moments where He is answering through presence, but we are still interpreting through our pains. Moments when He's walking beside us, but we are too focused on the things that did not happen to even notice the things happening around us. And this also goes for those that are deeply in pain. When you grieve, when it feels like your prayers are not answered, when your hearts are heavy, when your thoughts are clouded, it is so easy to assume that God has stepped away. But the Emmaus story tells us that God draws closer in our sorrow, not farther away. He's with us every step of the way. And most often, He's present in the places where we feel most alone. Still, He speaks. He opens the scriptures. He opens our understanding. He gently turns our confusion into revelation, not by force, but by truth. And if you're in a season of pain, one way you can begin by recognizing Him is not in the removal of your struggle, but in the quiet strength to keep going. In the unexpected peace that meets you in prayer. In the word that speaks directly to your situation. And in the comfort that arrives when you thought you would give up, but somehow did not. That is Him. Even when you cannot trace His hands, you can always sense His nearness in unexpected places. And suddenly their hearts begin to burn within them. Not with emotions alone, but with awakening and understanding. With something deep inside them saying, oh, He's been here all along. That burning is what happens when revelation meets with your journey. Then you suddenly understand that what feels like delay was actually companionship. What feels like distance was actually divine closeness. What feels like silence was actually conversation. When the disciples recognized Jesus, their situation changed. Sorrow became joy. Confusion became clarity. Walking away became running back. Because when Jesus is truly recognized in your story, listen, you can never walk the same direction again. Never. Resurrection is not just that He rose. It is that He is walking beside us. If you are in pain, don't assume absence. I want you to assume presence that you have not yet recognized. Because Jesus is not found only in miracles. He is found in the middle of the road. He is found in the middle of tears. He is found in the middle of confusion. And you know the greatest sign that He is with you is that everything does not change immediately. But you are still standing. You are still breathing. And you are still holding on. That is Him walking with us. This brings us to the end of our resurrection series. And it is my sincere prayer that as we go this week, may we recognize Jesus in our journey. I'll see you next week. Bye.